WBAY TV, your first alert station. Action 2 News This Morning live stream starts now.
Good morning and welcome to our Action 2 News This Morning live stream. I'm Tammy Elliott.
And I'm Emerson Lehman. Thanks for joining us. And we've been following breaking news all morning. You've been watching our normal newscast. A very busy morning. We want to start with that breaking news in Appleton, where a person was hospitalized after being shot by police as they responded to a weapons call out there.
And Emily Roberts, we've been out there on the scene since we've been on the air this morning. Give us an update. What does it look like right now? Tell us where you are and what's happening.
Tammy, Emerson, a lot of police activity on Wisconsin Avenue since police say that they responded to the weapons complaint around 1:30 this morning. Roads just opened up about maybe 10-15 minutes ago. You can see traffic is flowing, and you can see those squad cars also behind me. I'll step aside. I'm right in front of the Maritime Tavern where police say they responded to this weapons complaint. What's important is that police haven't said exactly where the shooting happened. There was a lot more activity near the intersection of Wisconsin and Division, just a couple buildings down from the tavern. There is also a lot of other unknowns. I asked a lot of questions this morning. Our Action 2 News team was the only news crew at a press conference with police with Captain Jack Tashner. I asked, what did the weapons complaint look like? What did that entail? How many weapons? What were the weapons? I asked questions like, what do we know anything about the suspect, male, female, their age? And Captain Jack Tashner says the police really can't answer very much right now because the investigation has been taken over by the Wisconsin Division of Criminal Investigation, and that really is standard procedure. Our Action 2 News team has experienced this before. I'll step back in frame as this traffic moves along Wisconsin.
And Emily, we're curious, did Captain Tashner have any message to people living in the area in Appleton there near where this incident took place?
Well, as cars are able to drive again and people might be going on their morning commute, Captain Tashner says there is no threat to the public. So that's the big thing right now. Of course, the Division of Criminal Investigation is going to continue to look into this, and hopefully our Action 2 News team can bring you some answers soon here.
All right, Emily, thank you so much for your updates. We've been watching that all morning and the changing situation out there. So we'll continue following that with our Action 2 News team today.
And we can see the traffic flowing behind Emily there. We were monitoring that all morning long. We want to check in with First Alert Traffic now, Catherine Brachow. Catherine, you've been busy as well this morning. Few different traffic incidents out there, but good to see the traffic now flowing again on what's a busy portion of Wisconsin Avenue there.
Yeah, I mean, Wisconsin is one of the biggest east-west thoroughfares through Appleton. So I want to show you, I set up my maps here to show you exactly where Emily is and where this is happening. That's the broader view of Appleton. So this is just north of downtown along West Wisconsin, which is also Highway 96. It's between North Division and North Clark where this bar is. So as you saw, behind Emily, Wisconsin Avenue, the traffic is moving again, but it looks as though perhaps North Division and North Clark, they may still be blocking those off, officers, and we don't know exactly for how long they're going to be in this area. But we've heard so often from officials, guys, you know we've heard this, they don't want gawkers and extra people in the area if they don't have to be there, so that officials can do their investigation. So in the meantime, maybe east-west you want to take College instead, north-south you could take Richmond. And then we were talking about this other issue, you guys, up in the De Pere area. Let me show you what's happening here. A vehicle fire on the Brown County ramp, I-41 southbound to Main Avenue on the west side of De Pere. I talked to Brown County officials, and they said that yes, there was a vehicle fire there. It is now out. For a time, it was blocking the ramp there, but now the traffic is flowing again on that ramp. So that, you know, obviously that exit to Main Avenue is really big on the busy on the west side of De Pere.
How are the road conditions overall, like winter driving right now?
Well, they're not ideal. You know, the temperatures are a lot warmer, 30 degrees, but there still could be some spots where the pavement temperature is below, you know, well below freezing, and things are really slick. You can see a lot of pink there. That means that the DOT is saying we have some slippery stretches. And, you know, when it gets warm like this, sometimes overnight things melt in the day, and then overnight they can refreeze. So that's creating some new slippery stretches for us. And remember, it's just been so stubborn, so difficult to melt all that snow and ice that came down with our storm a while back.
Nice to see the roads finally getting cleared of all
Yes.
that packed down ice and snow. Catherine, thank you so much.
All right, we want to get to other breaking news that we were covering this morning. A fire at a home in Oshkosh. We have Kristen Allen, who's been out there all morning. This is on the north side of Oshkosh. It's on Merritt Avenue. Kristen, what have you been seeing this morning?
For the most part, we've just been seeing investigators here. Most of the firefighters are gone this morning. There's just a couple, I'm assuming, investigators here, PIO from the fire department, and then some police officers as well. And what we have seen is this is a multi-family apartment building here behind me, multi-unit. So it's a big building. You can see it looks like it has lots of different apartment units within it. So I can tell you that what we have seen specifically is that there is an area in the lower back corner near the basement, which you can't see it now because I don't think because this fire truck pulled up here, but there's a window that we've been able to see flashlights in where it looks like investigators have been in that area investigating. So that would presumably mean that that may have been the area where the fire started because they've been focused on that lower level in the basement with their flashlights. And if you were with us during Action 2 News this morning during the morning rush, there was somebody on the outside of the building who walked right up to that window with a flashlight to look inside as well. So it's something with that back window and the basement where they've been focusing their efforts this morning. So that's what we've seen on scene here throughout the morning.
And Kristen, as we can see in the video here, a very large building. Have you seen any families or people that had to evacuate, or anything that you can say of what might have happened out there?
We have not seen anyone come out of this building this morning. I can tell you unconfirmed information. Before I got here this morning, somebody did tell my photographer that she heard on the scanner that this started in the basement, and obviously that would make sense since they've been focused on that area. But again, that is not confirmed. I have approached several firefighters here several times asking if they can give us more information, and they have not been able to release anything at this time. I just saw one right before we came on there, and he said, still can't tell you anything. So I said, okay, and I asked if there would be a press release or anything coming, and he said possibly later this morning.
Okay, well, and we know you'll stay on that and keep us up to date. Appreciate that, and continuing to follow that. Okay, so busy morning with our news, and want to turn now and talk with Steve about the weather and what's happening today.
Hey, good morning. I missed you guys. I was off yesterday.
Yeah, good to have you back.
Yeah.
It's a warm one, too. You brought the heat with you.
I guess so, because all last week we were in that Arctic air, the dangerous wind chills, and I come back to work and temperatures are like at 30 degrees, and that's warmer than a normal high temperature would be for this time of year. Look at First Alert Viper Max. You know what? There's a couple snowflakes from Sean up towards Sturgeon Bay. But there's this whole mess of precipitation that's pushing into southern Wisconsin. It looks like somebody broke out all the crayons, right? The pink here is the part that's most concerning. That is sleet and some freezing rain. And all the blue shaded areas south of the Fox Cities under a winter weather advisory. That does not include our area. But as that precipitation moves to the north and affects areas south of Green Bay, like about, say, Highway 10 down towards Sheboygan, we'll have some light snow developing, and our high should hit 34 degrees. So yes, it's on the mild side, guys, but it's not going to warm up a whole lot with a northeast wind and cloudy skies.
And we've talked about, in our newscast this morning, we talked about a lot of snowmobile trails that are closing this week. You know, ski hills have already been struggling this year, and you know, what are you expecting, Steve, in terms of the snowpack, how much it's going to melt this week with these really mild conditions out there?
So we are going to see several days in a row where highs are in the 30s. And even our overnight lows will be generally around and even getting above the freezing mark. So right now, we have a 10-inch snow depth in Green Bay. That is going to gradually diminish. I don't think it's going to be all gone by the time the weekend arrives, but it may be cut in half or perhaps even less than that. And ice thickness on inland lakes are not going to be very good as well, probably a bit unstable. Low pressure is driving this precipitation in our direction. It is just cold enough for most of this to come down to snow. I want to track this here with First Alert Pinpoint Predictor. You can see that snow trying to push into Fond du Lac and Sheboygan counties between now and the noon hour. 4 o'clock, Denmark down the I-43 corridor to Sheboygan. Could be a little bit slippery later on today, and then the snow slides on out of here. We're only looking for a slushy coating to perhaps an inch over towards Sheboygan. In the north, probably dry, but Predictor is picking up on it's probably just a few little snow showers. And then after the snow is gone, here's something that you guys need to watch. Tonight into tomorrow morning, fog, and not just fog. This could be freezing fog. So it's difficult to see where you're going. Temperatures bottoming out at and below freezing, and that moisture could be sticking to untreated streets, making them very icy to start off Wednesday morning. So that's the situation that bears a lot of watching tomorrow morning.
Catherine will be on that, just keeping us up to date on those road conditions. Anything else you want to add for us?
Well, let me give you that First Alert 7-day forecast, because Emerson was talking about the warmer weather. Look at all these 30s.
Wow.
And you know what, when we get beyond Monday, we're pretty much wrapping up January. We're going to be going into early February. When we turn the page of the calendar, we could be pushing highs around 40 degrees or so. So if you think this is mild for this time of year, even warmer weather is just beyond that First Alert 7-day forecast.
Well, that's not good for snowmobiling.
Glad I got out snowmobiling
Yeah.
when I did.
Did you have a good time this weekend?
It was fun. Yeah, it was a great time. And I listened to your warning last week. I wanted to get out before all these warm temperatures came in, because it's just been, as you mentioned earlier in the show, it's been such a weird winter, such a warm December, and now a weird January. It's just been very interesting.
You and your dad may not have that many days to enjoy. I'm glad you got out this past weekend.
All right, Steve, thank you so much.
Thanks. Okay, we want to turn now to a discussion with Aisha at the First Alert Safety Desk. So this is really interesting and important for parents who have a child in sports, and a lot of them out there.
Yeah, definitely. So we're talking about a new report that is from the American Academy of Pediatrics. They're talking about different things, the physical, mental benefits, but also the repercussions that can come with, the fact that kids could get burned out. So talking a little bit more about this report, and I don't know if we can pull up the information while I chat about this here. By the way, this will be in next month's issue of Pediatrics. You're getting a preview. So it does outline those sports-related injuries, anything that's caused by repetitive stress, which can really impact your child because kids have growing bones. So the report says about 70% of them, this is surprising, 70% of them drop out of these organized activities by the time they're 13 years old because of so many reasons, mental, physical reasons. Kids might feel too pressured to perform. I know this as a former young athlete myself. You're trying to perform both for your parents, your coaches, everybody else. It's so much pressure. So really wanting to bring attention to that and talking to parents directly this morning and coaches to try and maybe prevent that. So AAP says there are some things that you can do. Maybe you can first and foremost, make it a fun experience for your child, right? I know, Tammy, you are a mom with kids that have been in sports.
Right.
So you really want to make sure that they're not too stressed, overly stressed physically and mentally. Make sure you're talking to a pediatrician. If you see some signs that they're burned out, it is time to make some changes. I don't know if you've noticed just all the pressures that come with it.
Yeah,
Tammy.
it's a huge discussion with kids in sports, and you're an athlete too, you know that. I mean, that's a whole, and also so much specializing, just one sport athletes. Like back when I was in school, it was like 3 sport athletes, right? That you don't hear about that as much, but it's important. Or even if you're only in one sport, maybe some other activities to get involved in.
Stay involved,
too,
whether it's, in the arts and the theater, or, and I know you mentioned, the 3 sport athletes, different. I know my high school football coach, he still, to this day, he encourages those students to try different sports, not only to work the different muscles and whatnot, but just to meet new people, try new things. So definitely, and it's great to have supportive parents and coaches and whatnot helping along as well. So
they're just
very
kids,
important
right?
there. Exactly, they're just kids. They're having fun. Let them enjoy themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're working on another story, Aisha, this morning, talking about the loneliness and connection between people who struggle with obesity-related health issues.
Yeah, this one was interesting. It was a study that was published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. So it talks about preventing obesity-related illness and looked at data from, this was 400,000 people from a UK biomedical database. I thought it was interesting. So the study revealed all causes, this is important, all causes of death for people classified as obese was 36% lower in people who felt less lonely and socially isolated over time. We talk a lot about this here at the First Alert Safety Desk, mental health type things. So social isolation was the greatest risk factor for all causes of death, including cancer, depression. And so experts suggest, in this case, improving social isolation could be a remedy for seeing people not struggle so hard and ultimately die at a younger age. So one thing I made sure to talk about this morning is that social networking. A lot of friends doesn't necessarily mean you feel less lonely. It's about quality, as you guys know.
Yeah, for sure. And we know that there are plenty of resources, right, in our area.
Yeah, so on WBAY.com, we made sure to post different resources. I picked one from almost every part of our region. So we have some from Door County, Outagamie County. I try to pick as many as I could here in Brown County. Family Services is really great. So we definitely want to make sure that people know that those resources are out there for them.
And I think it's hard sometimes too in the winter, right? I mean, we kind of feel like can't go out as much or you know, just a little bit more isolated. So that's important to kind of find those outlets and find some resources.
The sunshine helps a little bit too.
sunshine.
We can see that sunshine out there.
Absolutely.
Aisha, always on top of it at the First Alert Safety Desk. Thank you so much.
Yeah, she's always covering such
Everything,
great topics.
anything
right?
under the sun.
We have a discussion every morning, and she's always, you know, researching and looking up stuff. So anything interesting, if you have any ideas to share with her, I know she appreciates that, especially local ideas too. So we are preparing here behind the scenes for our cut-in during Good Morning America, our news update. And obviously we've been following that breaking news in Appleton, so we'll continue to update you on that.
That's right, and you can watch that cut-in on air on WBAY TV2 or right here on this live stream as well. Make sure to tune in for that. We're going to give you the bird's eye view of the studio, and have a great Tuesday, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good Tuesday morning. I'm Catherine Bracho with a breaking news first alert update. A person is hurt after Appleton police shot them when they were responding to a weapons complaint. Appleton police say it happened around 1:30 this morning at the Maritime Tavern on West Wisconsin Avenue. The suspect's in the hospital. Police wouldn't say if they're a man or woman or how they're doing this morning. The officer was not hurt. Officials wouldn't talk about the circumstances or what this weapons complaint was about. The Wisconsin Department of Justice Division of Criminal Investigation is now looking into this. And in First Alert Traffic, we want to show you exactly where this is happening on our First Alert Traffic maps. A wider view of Appleton here. I'll take you in. West Wisconsin Avenue between North Division and North Clark. That's where the Maritime Bar is. Earlier, police had all the streets in this area closed off, but West Wisconsin is back open. North Division and North Clark, they may still be working on those areas. But if you want to give them a wide berth to do their work, you could take College east-west instead. Richmond is a north-south option. We want to update you on a situation we've been following in Brown County, a vehicle fire on the ramp from southbound I-41 to Main Avenue in De Pere. That fire is now out and the vehicle's cleared away. And again, remember, lots of slippery stretches this morning. Steve has weather after the break.
Skies are cloudy in Sturgeon Bay. There's the frozen marina. There's been a few flakes flying around at times. Temperature is 29 degrees. There are those stray flakes on First Alert Viper Max, but most of the precipitation is to the south. Rain and a wintry mix slowly heading to the north. We'll see some snow or a mix developing south of Green Bay for the midday and the afternoon. Cloudy with a high temperature of 34 degrees. A coating to an inch is possible with areas of freezing fog developing tonight that could be locally dense. All right, that is our WBAY live stream this morning. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Just a heads up, we are going into a very cloudy stretch the next 7 days. It's a difficult time for a lot of people who have SAD, for example. You know, you get the winter blues. And if you're one of those people, make sure that you are taking your vitamin D, if you need iron in your diet, or whatever it is, maybe get light therapy. Hang in there. We will all get through this together. A mild but cloudy stretch ahead. Have a great day, and thanks for tuning in.